Let's talk about one of the most delusional relationship beliefs. I'm going to show you an example of this. You see it all the time. It's very simple. In fact, it's so simple that you might not believe me when I show you. You ready?
Because when you love me, you accept me as I am.
When you love me, you accept me as I am. You hear it all the time in movies, TV shows, books, music. If you love me, you accept me for who I am. It sounds really nice, right? But let me tell you, this belief destroys relationships. For somebody who has this belief, it usually goes like this. When I'm out in the world, I have to pretend to be someone else. I have to pretend when I'm at work. I have to pretend when I'm with my family. I have to pretend when I'm hanging out with my friends. But in my relationships, that's where I can just let it all go. I don't have to pretend to be someone else. I can just be myself. This is delusional. Now, I understand the sentiment. You want to be your authentic self in your relationship, right? But the problem with this is that most people's authentic self sucks. What if you're annoying? You don't know how to communicate. What if you're narcissistic, abusive, a cheater, and a liar? If I love you, I have to accept you for who you are? That's crazy. So instead of holding on to this belief that people should accept you for who you are, allow me to offer you a different concept. In order to be free, you cannot do whatever you want. For example, you can eat whatever you want, but that's not really sustainable. Eventually, you'll run into health problems, and you won't be free to eat whatever you want. If you want to break the laws in a society, you can, but it's not really sustainable. You'll run into legal problems, and eventually, you won't be free to do anything in that society anymore. If you want to spend money and buy whatever you want, you can, but it's not really sustainable because eventually, you'll run into financial problems, and you won't be free to buy anything at all. If you want to be yourself and do whatever you want in a relationship, you can, but it's not really sustainable. Eventually, you won't be free to enjoy a fulfilling relationship. In order to experience true freedom, you must exercise discipline. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you have to treat your relationship like a job. It is a privilege to be in a healthy relationship, just like it is a privilege to have a good job. Nobody thinks that they can just be themselves when they're at work. You don't tell your boss to accept you for who you are. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be lying or faking it. It simply means that you're playing a professional role that is conducive to the workplace. Why? Because it's much easier to work with people who act professionally than to work with those who act unprofessionally. If you want a good job, you have to take it seriously. That means you might have to learn new skills. You have to learn how to dress properly, improve your interviews, learn to negotiate better, learn to network. The same thing is true for your romantic relationships. Boyfriend is a role, wife is a role, husband is a role, and there are expectations associated with these roles. For as long as you're occupying one of these roles, you don't get to clock out. You have to keep putting in the effort. You have to keep improving. That means learning to communicate better, learning to see things from your partner's perspective, resolving your past trauma, learning about sex and attraction, investing in your looks, going to the gym to improve your physique. Just like a job, you have to show up every single day. If you fail to do so, your boss won't pay you. If you fail to make an effort in your relationship, then your partner will fail to compensate you with the benefits of a relationship. This is entirely reasonable. If this is difficult for you to understand, perhaps the privilege of a healthy relationship is not for you. Let me give you an example. A woman who's on her period is able to act calmly and professionally at work. Yet when she comes home around her boyfriend, she starts to act moody, irritably, angry, and annoyed. So what is the problem here? For all the ladies watching, I understand that you want to be yourself when you're at home. But I guarantee that your man is thinking, why do the people you interact with at work who don't really care about you get to enjoy a better version of yourself than I do? You put in the effort to behave appropriately and presentable at work, but you can't do that for me? What does that say about our relationship? This is a very common example of failing your role in a relationship. It will slowly but surely destroy your relationship. The only time you're free to be yourself is when you are by yourself. You are not free to be yourself in a relationship. Like I said earlier, a healthy relationship is a privilege. If you want this privilege, you have to play your role. But expecting your partner to accept you for who you are, that is delusional. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, I got another one I want you to watch. It's about why you should be more judgmental, especially in your relationships. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but I promise you it is not. Check out this video here. Until next time, stay curious.